This week in news, Switch is the next PS3, PlayStation 5 Discord support, several Traveler's Tales games were cancelled, and a buggy Call of Duty on PlayStation. Extra, hear all about it. Guys, welcome to the podcast, Now with Puppy. I'm Matthew, and joining me is the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater on all platforms.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, we got a puppy. His name is Raz, named after Psychonauts, because Psychonauts has been in my mind a lot recently, and the way the patches on his eyes looks like Raz when he's got his goggles down. And so yeah, we got a puppy.
We sure did. And I'm really excited about it, but I'm also excited to introduce from Twitch's graveyard, Gavin!
Hola.
How are you?
Pretty good. Tired.
You're always tired.
I am always tired.
Well, this is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, March 12th, 2023. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefingroom. Let's get to some news. No knowledge needed for speculation. And this is the Switch the Switch games may not be backwards compatible with its successor. This comes from Modern Vintage Gamer, which in one of their videos, they looked into the possible components for the next console. Switch currently uses the NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip. And if they put a different chip into the console, which they probably will because it's an outdated piece of hardware, then software will need to be recompiled to target the new hardware. It's a very specific way they compile all that stuff. And out of all the outcomes thrown out by Modern Vintage Gamer and social media accounts, the three most likely options are: the successor includes a Tegra X1 chip, similar to how early iterations of the Wii had GameCube chips. This would increase production costs and additional designing for the implementation, because they're more than likely will have to include an extra slot for the Switch cartridges, or a next-gen patch could be used. And this is actually an idea that was thrown out by a social media account that stated that a patch is being worked on for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But again, this is just a social media account, so take that with a grain of salt. And then the other option is there is no backwards compatibility. This will be a PR nightmare, but it does fall in line with what Nintendo does. Anyway, people that wrote about this story are Jordan Midler at VGC, Joshua Robertson at The Gamer, and Todd Black at Game Ranks. Anyway, what do you guys think about this?
So I think that it's probably going to be, first of all, again, this is all speculation. They are looking at the possible components for the next console. So they're looking at current iterations of components. It's possible that Nintendo could have it's possible Nintendo could have a custom chip made, which is another thing that was thrown out by this video. But I'm thinking, honestly, with the way the Switch has been selling and the fact that it is mobile, if you look at their just home consoles, they don't really do a whole lot with home consoles. But if you look at their mobile consoles, you have, in the Game Boy line, you have the Game Boy, the Game Boy Pocket, the Game Boy Color. And then for Game Boy Advance, which is kind of its own line, you had the Game Boy Advance, you had the Game Boy Advance SP, you had the Micro Game Boy Advance, you had, they did another iteration of the Game Boy Advance. Then you look at DS, you had the DS, you had the DSi, you had the DS Lite, and then when they moved to 3DS, you had the 3DS, you had the 3DS XL, you had the 2DS, you had the 2DS XL. Like, that's what I'm thinking they're going to do with the quote next Switch. I think it's just going to be iterative. I think it's still going to be quote the Switch, but it's going to be like one name that's been thrown out that I love is the Super Switch. Going back to their origin with the NES and the Super NES, like the Super Switch, which is just, it's still the Switch, and there's still going to be some games like DSi. There are some games that only played on DSi and could not be played on DS, the original DS, because there was like a camera added to it and stuff, and that those games used the camera. So I could see something like that where there are a couple games that just will not run on the Switch. They are exclusive to like the Super Switch, but the Super Switch is still the Switch. And that's where I see it. Now, whether they, again, use a chip or use like, these patches to do essentially compile this data ahead of time or whatever, I can't speak to that. But that's what I think. If they decide to actually just move on from the Switch and go to a new console, it's going to be, I think it's just going to be, there's no backwards compatibility because they'll just charge you more. They'll just charge you for those games again. They'll be like, hey, remember that Switch game you liked? Here it is. Pay another $60 or $70 for it. But what do you think, Gavin?
I think if they're smart, they'll do exactly what you said. But even if they don't, that's just the way things go with game systems. Is upgrades. You can't play your old stuff anymore, and that's just the sacrifice that has to be made.
Yeah, I just hope it's. In the intro, Matthew makes the joke that the Switch is the next PS3. I hope it's not a situation like that where the PS3 uses, and I've harped on this in the podcast before, but they use like cell processing. And so that's why you don't see a whole lot of ports of PS3 games. And even the stuff that's on PS Plus, for the PS3, you have to stream it. You can't download it, is because of this quote cell processor makes it porting those games impossible according to them.
Right.
I still have my doubts about whether that's impossible or not. As long as it's not a situation like that, though,
maybe not impossible. Maybe
is.
Not impossible, but to the point where they'd spend entirely too much money doing it and wouldn't get anything back out of it.
Yeah, that's fair too. But at the same time, it's like, man, streaming games, we're not at that point yet, especially PS3 level games,
Right.
Anyway. Yeah, Matthew, let's go ahead and move on to the next story, Willie.
Okay, speaking of things that have been waited for, like the Switch next generation console, PlayStation 5's Discord support. This is in the latest system update. Features include Discord voice chats directly from the PS5 console, share screen functionality, migrating data from PS4 to PS5, transferring data from PS5 to another PS5, wireless DualSense updates, manually uploading game captures, voice commands for game captures, sorting and filtering games in a game list, and variable refresh rate for 1440p games. People who wrote about this story are Jordan Midler at VGC, Ben Borthwick at Video Gamer, Marcus Stewart at Game Informer, Tanner Dedman at Comic Book, and Tom Warren at The Verge. Okay.
All I can say about this is about time. They announced last year that they had made this big deal with Discord and Discord integration and all that. And then fucking Xbox got Discord before PlayStation after all that big deal or whatever. Now, Xbox doesn't have all these features in Discord that PlayStation does. But I just find that hilarious that they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And then Xbox gets it first. Funny as fuck.
I will say this whole Discord integration thing would have been useful, a year and a half ago for me, because I used to play Dead by Daylight and Among Us on my PlayStation with some friends that I had, but they were all on Xbox, and so
oh yeah,
so we'd be sitting there and we'd all have one side of our headset off and the other one on, so we'd all talk through Discord but still hear the game.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's nice that now you don't have to use regular console voice chat, because that was just a mistake.
You talking about in-game voice chat or the party chat?
Yeah, in-game voice chat. Yeah. In-game voice chat was a mistake. That should never.
I thought you meant the party chats.
No. Those are fine because you can kind of curate who's in your party. But and then the better options were use your phone with Discord and have the shitty mic quality, or drag out a computer and turn on Discord to talk through Discord, and have your computer nearby and all this. And it's just man, at least these consoles now have it on the console itself, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, also I'm also glad it's Discord, because I could imagine a world where it's Zoom or Skype or something, which
Dog, I haven't heard of Skype in so long.
Yeah, no, that's because Skype could never figure out what Discord, and even Zoom would have, Zoom is still very popular. I personally am not a big fan of Zoom, but yeah.
Dude, I used to use Skype so much in high school.
Yeah. I mean, it was the only voice chat.
Yeah.
I kind of used instant messenger, kind of started implementing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had so many friends that I just would talk to through Yahoo Instant Messenger. But
yeah, see, most of my friends were all long distance or whatever. So if we were ever busy doing something, but we wanted to talk, we just throw on Skype.
Yeah. But yeah, things have gotten better, and luckily these consoles are like, why should we try making something when there's already a product that works?
Why don't we just
That's very
integrate this product into our product?
Yeah. It's just so nice. I mean, right now we're doing this podcast through Discord.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I remember so many bad memories of I don't know about the PlayStation side, but there was that time where setting up party chat on Xbox was a pain in the ass.
It's not really been a problem. You just go to your quick menu, click start party, and then you click who you want in it, and you're done.
I mean, that's what it's like on Xbox now, but I'm talking like 360 PS3 generation when they were first starting to like implement that kind of thing.
I didn't have friends back then, so I don't know.
Oh, well. I mean, some would argue you still don't, but
yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, I think we've said everything we need to say about this.
Well, at least Discord is making progress. Several Traveler's Tales games were canceled. This is a story from Nintendo Life. There was a Lego Disney title, called Project Marley, because it didn't have a title, featuring characters from Frozen, Toy Story, Muppets, Winnie the Pooh, and Nightmare Before Christmas. It's been described as a Diablo-like. It spent 4 years of development, but before being canceled after Disney Dreamlight Valley came out. Then they also had a Lego Guardians of the Galaxy project titled Project Cosmic. It was a traditional Lego game, like the Lego Star Wars the Skywalker Saga that came out last year. It was to feature Nova and Adam Warlock, who are also going to be in the next Guardians film. It was 18 months in development. There was going to be a non-Lego shooter featuring a variety of Warner Brothers properties that was also canceled. And then, despite development issues, the Skywalker Saga broke all previous Lego sales records, and the Lego Group reportedly to announce non-Traveler Tales Lego games, including Lego sports games from 2K. People who wrote about this are Jordan Midler at VGC, Darren Bontois at GameSpot. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I know everyone does. Cade Onder at Comic Book, Marie Delisandre at GameIndustry.biz, Cameron Swan at Game Rant, Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life.
Yes, so I don't know how much I said it on the podcast itself. If you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefingroom, and there you will find just a standard support. It gets you the post show for this podcast, and we talk about what we've been playing. I played a lot of Lego The Skywalker Saga. In fact, so much that I actually have all of the achievements in that game. It was a very good game. Now, the interesting thing to me, like Lego Guardians of the Galaxy sounds cool, but this Lego Disney title that was a Diablo-like, that's fascinating. And then them doing a non-Lego shooter. I don't remember the last time Traveler's Tales did a non-Lego game, period. So those two are the two that I'm very interested in. As much as I like Guardians of the Galaxy and just standard Lego games, the fact that they were looking at doing other things is fascinating to me. What do you think, Gavin?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I got distracted.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out how to I was trying to set up a Minecraft world where I was doing survival but in super flat. But
yeah.
apparently you cannot do that on console.
Huh.
If you do super flat, you're stuck in creative mode. But in survival, you can like if you do super flat, you're in creative mode only. But like if you do just a normal world, you can do either creative or survival, which is kind of irritating.
Yeah, see,
I know it's possible to beat the game on super flat worlds in
yeah.
survival, but it won't
See,
let
for
me.
me, that's actually not a bad idea, though. No, I
What's not
would
a bad
probably
idea?
save playing survival on super flat mode because of you'd be able to see pretty much everything. I
Yeah,
never
true,
even
but the
thought about
only
that.
thing yeah, but the only things that spawn are like are villages.
Yeah,
Anything that would be in a village spawns. Other than that, you can't get anything unless you like trade for it with
yeah.
uh villagers or wandering trader or something.
But yeah, I would save a lot of time by going with a super flat world because I usually terraform anyway. But there's just something so satisfying about just flattening out a mountain with your shovel and pickaxe that I just really relaxing and I enjoy. Um,
I've, I've never done that before. I should try that.
oh yeah, I terraform the shit out of places.
I
Like I
terraform,
just
but not on like large scales like that.
oh yeah. There's one world I'm still it's in actually my realm, which I should invite you to my realm sometime. But I
Hey, we have Discord integration, man. We can do it.
yeah, we do. Uh there I took it was now granted it's like a level 0 map, but I took an entire map and just started digging into like a grid pattern and starting from the top and then working my way down. And I've put glass in the holes and I'm planning on digging in that grid pattern all the way to bedrock. And I'm calling it the crystal clear mines.
Ooh.
So you could literally just stare down the glass from where the world initially spawned and just see bedrock from that point.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm still not done with that. I've just started reaching where you can start getting lava. Like I'm still quite a bit of ways.
Oh yeah. Especially since the depth of the world's gotten so much bigger.
Oh yeah. So but anyway, back on topic. So basically, the people that make the Lego games canceled 3 projects: a non-Lego shooter with a variety of Warner Brothers properties. Rick and Morty was listed. The Superman characters were listed. Wonder Woman characters were listed for that game. They're gonna do a standard Lego Guardians of the Galaxy game, and then a Lego Disney Diablo-like.
Hmm.
But all of those have been canceled.
I wonder why.
Uh, if I had to guess, it's because the Skywalker saga had so much. It was in development hell for a very long time. They announced Skywalker saga like in 2015, and they just released it, something like that. And there was a
Jeez.
lot of issues with it, not with it being a toxic workplace allegedly, and just a bunch of stuff
Uh,
like that.
yeah, I know all about toxic workplaces.
And so I'm assuming it's I'm assuming it has to do with that. Like, they ended up just canceling these projects to focus all in on Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. But that is just conjecture on my part.
B don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't. I never know what I'm talking about.
That's fair.
In fact, if this was a video format, you'd see that I just have my butt up to the mic and I'm just talking out of it.
Jesus.
But yeah, I like I mentioned, I think this Disney Diablo-like is fascinating.
Right.
It was going to feature Frozen, Toy Story, Muppets, Winnie the Pooh, and Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ooh.
But like a dungeon crawling game like that.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Like, what gave them that idea to have like a Disney game in that style? Like, because when I think Disney, I don't think Diablo. Now I've seen some things that Disney Dreamlight Valley, it was canceled after that because there's a lot of similarities between Dreamlight Valley and this Disney title. Like, the thing you're fighting is like similar to the thing you're fighting in Dreamlight Valley, so maybe it was Disney decided to go a different direction with it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, it's like sometimes you wonder like how the hell they even come up with that. But like in high school, I mean, me and a buddy of mine came up with like a Mortal Kombat or Tekken style fighting game, but with like internet horror story characters. So like creepypastas and SCPs and shit like that.
Yeah. Speaking of creepypastas, did you know there's a lost media that people are looking for creepypastas?
Really?
Yeah, so it is what is it called? There's a channel I can send, or a video I can send you a link to.
Yeah, like I haven't kept up with like legitimate creepypasta in so long.
Oh,
like,
this is a classic one. It's the woman that has like the bleached face with the creepy smile and eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to find the image that was edited.
Oh yeah.
That image, no one can find that image that
you talking about with the black circles around the eyes and
yeah.
Jeff the Killer image.
Yeah, Jeff the Killer, that's what it's called. Yeah. They're trying to find the original photo, the one that was edited to look like Jeff the Killer. There's actually a couple fascinating videos about that. So, I never
no one's found it yet.
No one's found the original photo that it was edited from. No.
That seems like that'd be something so easy to find.
Well, we don't really even know, because creepypastas, especially early creepypastas like that, were from like forums, started on forums that are now gone. So we can't even fully trace the origins of Jeff the Killer, let alone where the photo would have even been edited from.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, Matthew, let's get back on track.
All right. It's back. Buggy Call of Duty on PlayStation. This was a claim that was made to the UK's CMA, which is the organization looking into the Activision Blizzard deal. And they had to say this: swiftly detecting any diversions from and ensuring compliance with a commitment as to technical or graphical quality would be challenging. For example, Microsoft may release a PlayStation version of Call of Duty where bugs and errors emerge only on the game's final level or after later updates. Even if such degradations could be swiftly detected, any remedy would likely come too late, by which the gaming community would have lost confidence in PlayStation as a go-to venue for Call of Duty. They also argued that the punishment for Microsoft not holding its end of the contract would be insignificant compared to the damage it would cause other companies. The contract referenced is a 10-year legally enforceable contract with full feature and content parity, and Microsoft is willing to commit to a third-party assessor to ensure the contract is followed. On the table is also that Call of Duty comes to PlayStation Plus day and date. People who wrote about this are Tom Ivan at VGC, Chris Holt at Engadget, and George Yang at IGN.
Yeah, so it's just, if it wasn't for these comments, the story would be that Microsoft is willing to put Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus day and date. Because, wow, that would be just incredible, especially since most PlayStation users have to have PlayStation Plus anyway, just to play most multiplayer games. So just being able to,
if I remember correctly, if it's a game that you have to pay, if it's a game that you've paid for, like
yes.
free games are the exception, but if it's a game that you paid for and it's online, you have to have PS Plus to play online.
Correct.
But if it's a game that's free, that's a different story.
Yeah, but that would have been the big story if it wasn't for PlayStation. Listen, I understand PlayStation saying all these things. Everything they've said, I understood why they've said it, but the way they've said it in these legal proceedings and just to media in general and all of this just makes them look like the bad guy. Like, what Microsoft would have to go out of their way to program PlayStation to be worse on Call of Duty. Honestly, some people have pointed this out. I'm not going to go as far as to say this, but some people have pointed out online, why is PlayStation saying this unless this is something PlayStation has done? I'm not going to go as far as to say PlayStation's done that. That's conspiracy theory territory, and conspiracy theories always end up going to a dark place. But they have a point. Who would think to do that? To make, put in extra money, extra time, extra, labor hours to specifically program a bug or glitch only for a single version.
Right. Hey, but if it's programmed in on purpose, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
But you know what? That's fair. But and then there's this other story, which again, I understand, and this time it's not coming from Sony, it's coming from another source, but where when Microsoft offered this deal and asked if if there's anything Sony wanted to change about this 10-year deal or whatever, Jim Ryan, the head of PlayStation, Sony Interactive Entertainment, he told them, I don't want a contract for Call of Duty. I don't want you to have Call of Duty. Which again, I understand, but that story only continues to make things worse because of how they've handled the public perception of their position. I don't think any of us are going to say, PlayStation, I don't understand why PlayStation's scared of this Call of Duty, not being on their thing. Like, everyone understands why they're scared, why they're trying to prevent this deal. That's not the issue. The issue is all of these public-facing things that they've said throughout. Like, I'd have to dig through all of this stuff, but it's been so crazy. So out of the blue and nutso. Some of the stuff they've said, public-facing, that's like, man, you're just making Microsoft look like the good guys, and just existing Microsoft exists as a bad guy, and you're making them look good. That's impressive.
You're making them look like the good guys, and that's saying something.
Yeah. Now I will say, Xbox is, I've brought this up several times, Xbox is under Microsoft, but not Microsoft itself, per se. Like, they've got a whole separate, executive staff. Like, they are
technically owned by Microsoft, but they don't work under Microsoft.
Yeah. So, like, there is some difference there, but yeah, the fact that they're making Microsoft as a whole look bad is oof. Or look good, I should say, is oof. Especially with, people in general, PlayStation being the big console. Just this, I mentioned that this week. I'm getting tired of these stories, but at the same time, every now and then you get like one of these gems where it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, PlayStation? And yeah, obviously they're right in the fact that the punishment for Microsoft not holding its end of the contract would be insignificant, because by the time, by the time the shoe falls on Microsoft, so to speak, even if it's reported immediately, oh hey, the game's not coming out at the same time as it is for Xbox and Nintendo. As soon as that happens, even if they report it that moment where it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be delayed on PlayStation or something. At that point, yes, it's going to be, 6 months before Microsoft's actually punished for that. Whereas Sony would be punished immediately because people are like, oh, why would we need to buy a PlayStation when it's not going to come out immediately, So they're right in that fact, but again, Microsoft's not going to just renege on their deal, just with as many eyes as are on them with this deal. They're not going to renege on the deal. And honestly, by the time 10 years is over, we don't even know what the condition of Call of Duty is like. Let me look at the condition of Halo. Halo is Microsoft's big IP, and it's in the toilet. Although I've heard some interesting things about Season 3, which is fascinating. They added gun game in Halo. Like the Call of Duty style game.
Yeah.
That's the one Call of Duty mode I've always enjoyed, is gun game. Because
it's kind of Apex too.
Yeah, because it's kind of an equalizer. We mentioned that with Fall Guys in our editorials, which civil member of Patreon would be able to listen to that. It's kind of an equalizer, whereas, more than likely the skill players are going to still win, but because you have to progress through all these different guns, like, even the non-skilled players still feel like they've accomplished something with gun game. So that's exciting. Also, with Halo Infinite, a feature that they've had that I wish all games would have, especially me being a Fall Guys guy, is, you still have to pay for every season pass, but that season pass never goes away. So when the next season starts and you didn't get to the last level, you can still go back and get that previous season's rewards.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
See, I'd like if they did what Overwatch did with their battle pass, because people were complaining about how like there was no incentive to really play the game because like there wasn't really anything to work towards other than what was in the battle pass, and a lot of it wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
But they made it to where you get enough coins in the game now to afford the next battle pass and also get a legendary skin of your choosing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that idea.
Yeah, that is a nice idea too. But yeah, man, there is a final date. I don't know what the date is of the FTC hearing, which is kind of the last hearing overall for the whole thing. I think after they get through the FTC, I think they'll pretty much be done. And able to progress. But the but yeah, there is an end in sight. There's like some of the final hearings are happening within the next 2 or 3 months. So we'll finally stop hearing all these weird ass stories, and we'll be able to say, okay, one way or another, we'll be like, all right, it's over. We don't have to deal with this anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's pretty good. You want to take us out, Matthew?
Sure thing. If you liked, or even if you didn't like this podcast, make sure to do all of the things like hitting the like button and the subscribe button and the bell at the XofPlays on YouTube, or giving a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow, and I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefing-room, you can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.